Episode 6 starts right after this. Episode 6, day 1, start of the tournament. We're jacked. We're ready to go. We're ready to get down there, get to our first spot. We know we're going to pretty much beat everyone down there. We start calling off numbers.
Boat number 2, Russell and Landon. Boat number 3, Gary and Rick. Boat number 4, Todd and Brent.
There's only 3 boats in front of us. We know all 3 of them. First boat, Albert and Clayton, they turn around. They're going back. They're going back to start where we took off from. Hey, now there's 2 boats. There's 2. We're golden. Let's roll. So we're rolling down the lake. We know where we're gonna stop. We're just trying to get there. We're trying to get there. We're rolling, we're rolling. We're not gonna let anyone pass us, right? So we got the skeeter flying. We can't pass the other 2. They're too far in front of us, but the other guys, they're too far behind us. We get down there and something threw us for a loop. We heard something say on the way down there, there's another boat ramp we had to pass right by the dam. The gate was shut because it's a state park, so it doesn't open until 6, and there was a line of trucks and boats there. And I was thinking to myself, I'm going, there's no way they can all make it and load all their boats and then drive there, right? So I'm going, no, what? That's weird. This is a Saturday, I get it. Man, that seems awfully early to be waiting at the boat ramp at like 5:45, 5:30, just waiting there. Whatever, I don't know. So we get down there and we're getting closer and closer and closer, and both the other boats in front of us, they're still in front of us all the way, right? They never slowed up either. They went straight to where the same vicinity as we're going. And we look up, and I kind of quit paying attention to them because they veered just a little bit to the right. There's an area over there that's all pretty much community hole stuff. And I look in front of us, 1, 2, 3, right? I don't know if it shows it. Now, I don't know about the other. There's like 4 to 5 already to the right. When I say the right, I mean, they're in shouting distance of those other 3. And so I'm sitting here going, what are we gonna do?
Wow, dude.
What do you want to do? I mean, there's this spot. There's this spot. Are we road in or are we chancing?
I don't know about this spot. I don't know if this holds a bunch of fish. We know there's a bunch of fish.
I know it holds a bunch of fish. Try it.
These are the broom beds?
Broom bed. None of those guys are even in our tournament, dude.
They're in that Federation tournament.
Are they practicing?
I mean, I wonder if is there room to just pile up in there with those guys?
No, it's a cast, dude. It'd be different if there went 3 boats on it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe we can be going out right here.
I'm like, hey, look, we're still somewhat first. We passed up another spot. There was another spot we had contemplated on starting on, is where Brent got bit. That one wouldn't be as busy as this one, so we're like, hey, this might be the only time we ever get to fish it. I've got these other places. This one other place is pretty good, I guess, or it could be good. You know, we had some rigging bites there, like 1 or 2. I didn't fish it very hard. We fished it the day before. That's kind of close, you know, within 2 or 3 casts of where I caught some cranking on the 8.0. The perch beds are right there. I'm like, let's just go right there. So that's where we went. We weren't going to go get in there with everyone else. I mean, even if one boat had been there, I thought that spot was more of a 1 cast deal. And he was asking me about it. I said, hey, look, man, even if that guy's not on it, this one guy's on a pile. That other guy, I don't know what he's doing, but there's one guy pretty close. I said, dude, there's 3 boats. We're just not going to do that. Even if there was 1, I probably wouldn't have done it. The other 2 boats in front of us, they went on in there with the other group over there. So we just went over here. So we started fishing, and if you look, we weren't even really paying attention to what we were doing. we were watching boat after boat after boat go by. And what they're doing is, I'm like, what? Let's see how many guys come down here. We knew it was gonna happen. And they just roll all up in there with them all. And hey, I mean, we just don't like to fish that way. Man, I just don't like fishing in the crowd. Never have. Don't agree with it. Don't like to do it. I just don't feel comfortable, and so we just don't do it. So we got way over here by ourselves. Brent finally catches a small one, you know, but we fished for a while. Brent finally gets a bite, catches another one. Right, it's a decent one. As when it comes to the fish we had been catching in the grass and some things, it was like, you know, a little bit bigger than normal of the small fish, right? Of the small fish. So we keep going. So we're fishing and fishing, and now I'm changing things up. Right? Throwing a swing head around, right? We'll throw a Carolina rig around a whole bunch because we still think that's the main way to catch them. I end up cranking around a little bit with the 8.0. Like we stayed in one spot for a good 30 minutes, casting in circles, casting around, just to have one fish. When we started moving, nothing. And so we're sitting here going, yep, once again in this championship. And I don't know if y'all know my history with TXTT. We've won Angler of the Year a couple times. We've had a chance at other ones where some other misfortunate things where we didn't get to fish championships, and even last year we were leading Angler of the Year, rolling up into it, and they changed the date on us right over in open, so we didn't get to fish it. So, but we've just never had good luck on our starting spots on some of these tournaments and whatever. So we're like, hey, the perch beds are right here, let's roll. So we go to the perch beds. So we troll over there and start throwing around, Carolina rigging around, start throwing that swing head around, crank around a little bit. We fish all of them. There's like 8 or 9. We got to fish all of them. We never saw a boat even try to get around them. Now, maybe they knew better than us. Maybe they knew that you would never get a bite on that on tournament day, right? Because we sure didn't. I think Brent did lay into one. He said he didn't. It felt the way it bit was very, very small. So now it's been like an hour and a half. We have one fish. I mean, an hour and a half's a long time to be just fishing around. So we're like, hey, no one's gone down that grass yet. And I said, Brent, like, we got to start somewhere, right? We got to get some fish in a boat or something. I'm not big on a limit. That's not what we're going after here. What we're going after, though, is it feels so bad to us right now that sometimes just catching fish gets you back on track somehow, some way. And you just never know. My whole deal is you could fish out there all day long for those deep ones and those big ones and never get bit. And you know, that's just is the way it is. But like I said, we don't want to lose this thing on day one. So we go up to the grass and no one's been through it. I said, hey man, I went through here the other day and caught, I don't even know how many I caught. It was ridiculous. So we start going through the grass. Same weather. It's blowing a little bit on it. A little bit of clouds. It's good. I don't have a lot of footage of it. I have this footage right here. I hook into one. I tell Brent, don't even worry about the net, man. It's pretty early on. Don't even worry about the net. I'll just swing him in. It comes off. You see us. We don't even blink an eye. It's not a big one. It's a cat. But we're like, man, what does it matter? We're gonna catch him down this stretch. Yeah. Nope. Nothing down the whole stretch. I mean, this was a place you could go catch 10 fish pretty easy. Nothing. That one bite. So now, you know how it is, right? When practice has been fairly good, and then you just went down one of your easiest stretches to catch fish in the grass, and you get one bite, now you're just shaking your head going, oh, come on, not one of these tournaments, right? Not one of these things. This is not going the way we planned. Don't just sit around, right? We're going to keep being proactive. We're going to keep going after it. So we leave there and we're like, hey, let's go to that point. We got all of them bites now. So, and as we drive off, we're looking at the boats that are around us. And there were little places that we had gotten a bite here that I didn't really put on video. There'd be one random one here, and we're like, there is a boat on every single place we had possibly gotten a bite or thought we should. We round the corner and look over there, and I go, I know that boat. I said, are they on it? And so I just drove right at them. And yeah, there's my buddy Steven Johnson. And I was going, figures, you know, figures he'd find them. So I was like, and I got a little bit closer because I wanted to see where he was on the point. I was wondering, man, maybe he won't get as shallow as we would possibly fish it. So I wanted to get closer. Yeah, they were throwing one on one side, one on the other. They had it all blocked off. I wasn't going to fish it. I was just going to see if, okay, even if they leave, we might be able to get up there and get a couple that maybe they didn't throw at up shallow. No, he had it covered. He knew what he was doing, as usual. I said, all right, do we stop? Let's stop on these trees. We didn't want to stop this early. It's 9 o'clock. It's still cloudy, and it's blowing hard. And I go, well, here's our chance to find out if we will catch them when it's like this. And it's blowing pretty good. It's pretty good whitecaps out there. And we try. And we try for 20 minutes. And it just wouldn't happen. It didn't feel right. It was hard to move around. We were making a whole bunch of noise. I mean, by the boat hitting, it's what we were afraid of. We didn't try cranking it or throwing a spinnerbait on it because we had other stuff to hit. We were just going to try it for 20 minutes, give it a chance. If we caught something, yes, we'd stay. If not, we're rolling on. So we rolled on. We go and try to hit this other deep spot. We fish it for like 45 minutes. Nothing. Like nothing. Not even a bite. Okay, well, we got to go to the grass and catch something, get it going again. So here we go. We go to the grass down this one stretch where I had thought it looked good. I didn't fish it because Brent had fished it. So we roll in there, and I'm throwing hybrid hunter. Brent is too. So we catch some, right? So we catch one over here, catch one over there. I've already been throwing that Chapo around at the other place. Never had a bite. You can see me here and there. I'm picking it up at times. I'm throwing it around. I'm switching back and forth. I'm just looking for now a bite. I've gone a long time without getting a bite. I hadn't put a fish in the boat yet, and it's getting way up into the morning, like way up in the morning. So I'm going back and forth. Brent's had enough of what he's doing. He's like, hey man, where's that rage swimmer at? That flashy swimmer. So he digs around because I had rigged one up. He finds it. He starts slinging that thing around. Gets a bite. So he's at least putting some fish in the boat. I'm like, hey, this is where though it's cool to be have a team partner, right? In team events. I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing and let him do his thing. He's catching them. He's figuring out other things. So I'm just gonna keep throwing the constant that has got us bites. Finally, I get one. I catch one, get him in the boat. All right, cool. Then I get another bite. I think I catch another one. So I was like, hey man, there's a lot deeper grass. I hadn't really fished it. And he goes, yeah, there's deeper grass out there. But once again, when we practice areas, we don't just like break them down perfect. We try to break them down perfect in the tournament, more or less. So we're like, hey, we talked about the area we're in, and we talked about the other side of the pocket. He said, yeah, I didn't really catch one there. The grass didn't grow as good in there. It seemed like when I got over here, that's when we got bit. So we turned around. I started throwing the hybrid hunter more out there over the deep grass. And mind you, I have yet to catch a fish over 3 pounds on a hybrid hunter in 2.5 days now, basically. So I get a bite, right? And if you can watch it, it's really not fighting. I mean, I'm reeling on it. I'm reeling on it. And it's coming to the boat, and Brent's like, hey, you know, we don't like to get the net out if it's not a big deal, right? If it's not a big one. And I'm like, I don't know, man, you know, and it's just coming at me. And next thing I know, it gets right to the boat, decides it doesn't want to come to the boat.
Shit. Here, come on. Airmailed that one, son.
And in about a half a second, in about a split second, you can see it on one side of the boat, and like a smallmouth tarpon mix jumps on the other side of where we thought it would come up at. And we both instantly knew, oh my gosh, we got a big one. And so like it goes nuts, we get him in, and I'm like, we're excited. Now, granted, we don't have any kind of weight in this event, right? Some of these events, when they're going like that, you need one fish, a spark, a something. It wasn't the size of the fish, because it was over 5 pounds. We hooked it good, by the way, and it was weird. I hooked it so far down in there. I had one little hook. It didn't go through the tongue. It just like placed on the tongue. I took it out. It bled like crazy. Brent's like, man, what? I said, Brent, it wasn't through the tongue. It was like touching it. It should be fine, because a lot of times you can cut the hook off, do all that stuff. No, we left it alone, put it in there, put our G-juice in there. It never even had an issue for the rest of the day. Like, we waited in, it was totally fine, but it did bleed a lot. We were a little worried. What I'm saying is that fish was like a freebie. I mean, you can have all kind of names for it. A freebie, a lucky one, man, that's the one you need in a tournament, because you haven't been catching anything big out of the grass. So we're going, okay, deeper grass. We hadn't fished that much of the deeper stuff because it's very hard to find. We're going, that's the only one we need. We're gonna have to catch some other fish deep. We got those trees, like we're gonna catch some big, but we got a lucky one to a degree, and that's all we needed to get us back on track. So now we're jacked. So we're fishing, and yeah, I catch a catfish, right? And then I catch another one. And we get some bites, and we're going, okay, let's think about this. We're not gonna catch that genie in a bottle twice, right? We're not gonna just randomly catch another big one out of the grass. It just doesn't work that way. We know this. We got our lucky one, let's roll. We went to and hit some other grass just to see how that grass was going. We caught a couple. The water, it was calming down, and it didn't look like we were gonna catch a big one on this next place. Maybe a 3-pounder, but once again, I'm throwing back and forth, right? Hybrid hunter, Chapo, he's going rage swimmer, hybrid hunter, swim jig. We're mixing it all up, but everywhere we go, we're catching a third of the fish. They're not big. Like, we're gonna have to make a change. So we did. So now we run all the way down to the dam, and this is where, and I didn't put this on camera, this is where my camera had overheated, and it was practice day. Like I said, didn't worry about it. The last pretty much spot we hit before practice. So we roll up to the dam, and there's a guy. I'm like, there's a guy pretty close. And we get there, and he's not on it. I said, hey man, he's a couple casts away. I said, I don't know what they're fishing, but like, we want to fish right here. We're good. So we get up there and we start Carolina rigging around. Brent catches a small one, right? And we're like, hey, let's just slow down. We have kind of figured out that the bite is better later on in the day. The morning bite has never been that good. It was okay in the grass, but later on in the day is where we think we're gonna catch maybe some big ones. So we're sitting here going, let's see what happens. Start throwing around, and he's gone to his little finesse style Carolina rig. I have now chosen to throw the big game hog, just because, like, let's go after a big one. So I'm throwing that, he's throwing the little one. He catches like 3 or 4 small ones, and I'm going, well, at least he's getting big, you know? So we're throwing around, and all of a sudden, boom, throwing right behind me, he hooks in one. When I say right behind me, he's throwing behind me as in, I've already made quite a few casts there, he's made quite a few casts there, and all of a sudden, he hooks up. It's a big one. It's not a giant, but it's another one that, hey man, we're gonna weigh this one in for sure. Like this is, we're not putting a cold tag on this thing. So we get him in the boat, and I'm like, all right, now we got two, we got something. We got plenty of time left. We still haven't hit the trees. We're over halfway through the day, but we're good, we're okay. We don't even need 5 big ones. We just need, you know, maybe another one, or let's see what happens. So we stay there a little bit longer than what we like to do, but we haven't really done great anywhere else. So we're throwing around. I pick up my swing head. I start slinging that thing around. Slinging that thing. You know, we're just trying to mix it up. I'd already cranked, I'd already done some stuff. And then right under the boat, I catch one. Not a giant, but it's one of those 3s. And those 3-pounders we hadn't really caught a bunch of in practice. We either caught or felt like we had a decent sized one, like a big one, or like way under 2.5. Like even 2.5s were hard to come by. So I catch this one and we're like, okay, like, hey, if that's our smallest one, we're good. Like that's a good healthy fish right there. We're right on track. We're good. And then nothing. And then nothing. And then nothing. And then nothing. You ready? Like, I don't think anyone's fished it. I think them trees are right there. Let's go see what happens on our secret spot. Let's go see what happens when we pull up there, because we think they're big ones, and these guys don't know what we're about to do. We're about to go over there, and we're about to show them what's up. That's what's in our head. We're about to go make a big move, and that big move is coming up next. Till episode 7, guys. It's coming.